Hey you guys, this is Eric from the future, just checking in with you before you start the episode to let you know there's a little bit of an audio discrepancy in this episode. Was not using my normal equipment, and when I got ready to edit and listen back, it just sounded like I was in a tin can. So apologies for any of those issues you may hear, but regardless, the audio is all there, so I hope you enjoy the Christmas special. And guys, have a safe and happy holiday. Merry Christmas. Now on to the episode.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, citizens of Gotham. This is The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast focusing on all things Batman and the DC Universe. If you'd like to connect with the show, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search tfrbatpod. And if you have thoughts, questions, comments, or even suggestions for future episodes of the show, you can reach us by email. Just send those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. My name is Eric Carter, and I am your host, and I am joined, as always, by my cheery co-host, cohort, partner in crime, Joe Fornerato. Joe, Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas. Today I'm jolly. I'm jolly today. I'm the big jolly fat man today.
Jolly Joe. I like it. I like it. Alliteration. That works well with comics.
What's going on?
Oh man, just we're in the thick of the holiday season. We've got all our traveling done. It's been nuts. It's been constant busyness since Thanksgiving. Which if you're listening to this podcast right now, because there's been a big gap since Halloween. So apologies for that, but also life happens. So can't really apologize too much because of course this is a hobby, and as Joe and I have discussed, we can't let that get in the way of life. So I'm glad we were able to get this together though, Joe. I'm glad we were able to get together and get our Christmas episode out.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm glad I was able to even talk to you a little bit. It's been busy. Luckily, I take some time off for Christmas, so I was able to fit something in this morning before the kids get out of school. And we get to talk some Christmassy Batman.
Yeah, we do get to talk some Christmassy Batman, which we will get there. But first, we have a little bit of other things to talk about. Well, we don't really usually talk about news, but we kind of got a little bit of a early Christmas gift and a little trailer. So I wanted to talk about that for just a few minutes. First, Joe, we got the trailer to Supergirl. How fun was that?
We did get the trailer, and yes, nice little surprise. I guess we knew it was coming. Didn't exactly know when it was coming, but it was a nice surprise, and that movie's going to come quicker than we realize.
Yeah. It's coming up this coming summer. I can't remember the exact. I think it's in June, correct?
It's the end of June, I believe. It's like June 20 something.
I think that's right. But it's coming this summer. The trailer itself,
June
I
26th.
thought June 26th. I thought the trailer was a lot of fun, honestly. And for those of you who have read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I felt like if we didn't know this movie was loosely based on that comic, you would have known from the trailer because I got a lot of Woman of Tomorrow vibes from it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way. I have read the book. We knew it was coming. They've been very good with that. The thing that Gunn has done really well since taking over is the dual marketing, where they keep advertising the comics that these movies are based off, or at least take inspiration from. And I love that. And with this, yeah, it gave me more. Honestly, I think it gave me more vibes from the comic than I expected.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do think there's going to be some differences here and there. I mean, we know we're going to have Lobo in this movie. We got that quick shot of Jason Momoa in the trailer as Lobo, which is there a more perfect character for Momoa to play in the DC universe than Lobo? But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think there's just so much that felt like the comic. I was a little surprised how much it felt like. So I don't think it's going to be a direct lift, but I do think we're going to get a lot of the comic story based on that trailer.
Yeah, agree. And we'll get into it, but I think like, there's going to be probably more levity in this than the book. I don't remember that much humor in the comic. I only read it the one time. I did just pick up the deluxe, so I'm gonna reread that probably prior to the movie coming out. If not sooner, I'll probably read it in the next couple weeks because I've been looking to dive into that. Um, but
And I'm
yeah,
sure that that'll be a fun thing to do before the movie comes out is maybe to do an episode on the book itself.
yeah, that's a good idea. We did I remember we did some of that we did like Aquaman stuff leading up to the Lost Kingdom. So that would be a fun thing to do for Supergirl too. I know we did it for Superman obviously. Um with all these big releases, we like to try to do something with that. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now I know you're sometimes an anti-needle drop guy. What did you think of the song choice for the trailer, Joe?
For trailers, it's pretty common now. I'm accepting of it for the trailers. I think that's a popular song, but not a song that I feel is overplayed or too on the nose. And maybe it's because I like the song. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, without getting too much into it, I know a lot of people have been, I don't know if they're criticizing it or just stating the obvious of the Guardians of the Galaxy vibes from the trailer. I
Mhm.
don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be because I think that's not really uncommon for movies like this to have that kind of vibe. But I I think the only thing that gave me that vibe, and I think I messaged you guys when I saw it, but the her having the headphones on was kind of like, ugh, like that's a little on the nose. But other than that, I don't think it's too much into the realm of how James Gunn does his movies with the needle drops. I'm hoping we can kind of get away from that a little bit, but
Sure. Yeah.
we'll see what happens when the movie comes out. I'm not going to judge it based on the trailer because I don't think you can really criticize a trailer for having a needle drop because they want something that's going to stand out and get people into it. And I think that's the easiest way probably to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, I know that the Guardians comparison is out there, but it's for me. I mean, there's a lot of space comics that aren't necessarily
Not to the general
Guardians of the
public, I guess.
Galaxy. Yeah,
The
so
general public is still new to the whole idea of comics not taking place on Earth, I guess.
yeah, so I mean, I feel like any movie now that's any comic book movie that happens to be set in space is gonna be like, oh, this is like Guardians. No, but okay. So I mean, if you read the book, this is a pretty good translation of what a lot of space and a lot of locations in space in the book looks like.
Yeah, that was the part I was excited about from the trailer is that you don't see Earth at all.
Yeah, so I think more than them like aping the style of Guardians, I think they were aping the style of the source material the story's based on.
Yeah, agree.
So, what did you? I mean, I think the suit looks really good. What did you think of some of the action pieces we saw in the trailer?
From what I saw, they look fun. It's I'm not going to say the action looks, top notch and it's the best thing I've ever seen. It looks like a fun movie though. It looks like they're giving her a lot to do. I don't know. It looks like they're holding back a lot with her powers, which I appreciate. I want to see more of it from when, I see the movie, and I'm sure we'll get more when the actual trailer drops. This is still just I guess the quote unquote teaser, even though it is basically a trailer. So we'll see what happens when we get more footage. It's only December and we got 6 more months. Did we see her fly at all? I'm trying to remember now.
I'd have to rewatch it. I don't remember if we did or not.
Because it seems a lot of hand-to-hand combat, which is interesting for a super being. Like, you don't really see Superman do too much hand-to-hand combat on the ground. So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of subdue her powers a little bit on these different planets, which I'm okay with. I think it's kind of a smart way to make it different and maybe lower the budget a little bit too. If we're getting into the, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
I like it. It looks fun. It looks, it definitely looks like it's not going to be hurting for action. We didn't get a
No.
lot of the villain. I don't remember much about the villain from the book other than what he actually does. But
See, I think the villain is, in my opinion, which I just recently reread it. So maybe
okay,
when I got the deluxe edition, so maybe it's just me, but I think the villain is pretty memorable in the story. Krim of the Yellow Hills in this one. So, and I don't know if that's what they're going with in the movie, but I hope that the weird looking creature, humanoid looking thing with all the weird facial prosthetics,
mm-hmm.
I hope that's not him
Mm-hmm.
because that's a pretty big departure from Krim in the book.
Okay.
So I hope that's not him.
Yeah, I haven't read it
Um,
in a couple of years. I mean, when it first came out was probably what 3-4 years ago now.
yeah, I can't remember when it came out, but
It might even be longer than that. I just read it probably 3-4 years ago. So I remember, the story. I remember the basic outline of the story, not necessarily every little beat of it or exactly what. I don't even remember what Krem looked like in the comic, to be honest with you. So I'm very curious what they're going to do as far as how faithful it is, because I don't think, to what you're saying, I agree. Like, if you like what they did with the villain in the comic, you don't want to depart too much. But I also think it's not like a beloved character. If you're going to take liberties as much as you want, as long
yeah,
as it is better. You don't want to take liberties and then make it lesser than what the comic has.
I think to the point we were making earlier with the Guardians comparison, I think that's the part that I felt was the most Guardians because he looks like a Guardian style alien, and that's my thing. I think is no, he's not one of these beloved characters that it would be that it's sacrilegious to change. However, if we're just doing it for the sake of making him look funky, then that's where I'm like, no, we didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm super excited for the movie based on the trailer, and I think Millie Alcock's going to knock it out of the park.
It does seem like online that shot of you're talking with like the little bumps on his face.
Hmm.
It does seem like that is Krem. So like they went with that instead of just the bearded guy that he is in the comic.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know why they would go. Why couldn't they just, and especially since it's so much more simple for the actor to just have a regular face with nothing on it. But again, they maybe wanted to make him a little more scarier, which I'm all for, because I think I want more, uh, not necessarily scary, but I would love to see the emotional impact of the book resonate way into this movie. Like I said, I think there's going to be some levity, but you could see the emotional beats in the trailer, for certain points that I really don't want to give away if you haven't read the book. But you
yeah,
could see they're definitely going to, I don't want to say definitely, but it looks like they're going the route of the book where the emotion starts early on.
yeah. I think so. Yeah, yeah, and I can't say too much about it, like you said, because it gets into spoilery territory if you've read the book. So we'll just leave it there. But and for all intents and purposes, it sounds like you're excited for it, and I'm excited for it, and it's we've got another super summer coming up, Joe. So that's fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know we said this when they first announced the slate. It is odd that the first two live action movies are Superman and Supergirl, that back
It
to
sounds
back.
like the
So
first three we're gonna have. Well, no, because we'll get
we'll get
Clayface in between
Clayface by
there.
then. But you're right. I mean, the three main hero stories, yeah. Um, but I like that this does not feel like Superman. It does. She feels like a completely different character. I know people have always that's been the biggest criticism of the Supergirl TV show is that they just kind of made her a female version of Superman. Where
Yes.
this, they are not doing that. She's her own character. She's completely different. You hope that people don't look at that as a departure when it's actually more accurate, because sometimes that happens where the general audience takes something that was a departure, but because it's what they know, that's what they cling to. So
Yeah.
hopefully, I love that they're doing it different. It doesn't feel like the same old thing, and despite it being Supergirl after Superman, it feels very different. We're not on Earth. It's not this bright, cheery thing. There's definitely some darkness to this, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm full agreement there. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up on Supergirl there, Joe. So we're both excited for that and ready for June to come so we can check it out. And I'm sure we'll have more trailers between here and there. But Joe, let's get into what we're here to talk about today. So without further ado, we're here to talk about a Christmassy Batman story. So Joe, let's get into it. It's Batman. It's Santa Claus. Silent Night. All right, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night was released, I think, in its entirety. I think all four issues were released weekly in December of 2023. So this book was written by Jeff Parker, and we have several artists bringing this story to life here. Um, Jennifer, I mean, just to get into the first portion of that, a weekly release in December for a Batman and Santa Claus miniseries. How genius is that?
Well, it's nice when they actually do it and it comes out by Christmas. I feel like sometimes they do this and it comes out after the holiday and I've already lost my luster for reading it. So this was perfect when it came out. I really enjoyed the lead up to Christmas for this. I remember reading it week to week, and or if I didn't read it week,
To be fair, the finale
I
did
know
release
it was
on
like the
December
27th.
26th.
Okay, yeah. So again, like they have to screw up something, right? It's not possible for them to, wrap it all up before Christmas. I don't know why. Like, would it have killed them to have the final or the finale released the 19th? But
Right.
um, close enough, I guess. So yeah, this I remember reading this as it was coming out. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun to see the Santa Claus lore be put into the DC universe, and all the characters that were involved in this, have their stories and their whether it be opinions or their childhood memories of what they thought Santa was, and then to actually, you know, hear what the DC universe was making the real Santa. It was really fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really enjoyed the release schedule of this one, even if the last one was the day after Christmas. It was close enough to get all of it in December. I thought was really fun. And then since then, I mean, this was so popular, it has spawned a sequel that I think the trade for that just recently came out. So you can check that out. It's Silent Night Returns. So have you read that one, Joe?
I hadn't. I don't know why I missed it last year. I don't know if I was just busy and didn't get around to it. I don't remember what the release schedule for that was, but I just, for whatever reason, I missed it last year. I was going to try to read it this year. I didn't get a chance to yet, but we'll see what happens today or tomorrow. If I can kind of fit it in before Christmas or even, a couple days after. I have been meaning to read it. I'm kind of glad I didn't read it right before I read or right before we did this episode, because I'd probably get it confused. So probably better off I didn't do that. But I read a couple of other Batman Christmas stories. I try to read a few here and there. Sometimes it's easier to read a couple one-offs I never heard of before than to read a 5-issue story. I will give them credit though; these are nice short stories. It's not like a 8-issue thing or a 9-issue thing. I think that even the new one is only 5 issues, and the first one that we're
Yeah.
talking about is only 4.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to be fair about this, before I forget, annual plug for the holiday section on DC Universe. It's fantastic. So go
Yeah,
check it.
they
Or
added
DC.
stuff that I never even heard of before this year. I read a random Brubaker story from I guess the 90s or the early 2000s that was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to. I haven't seen that, so I'll have to dive back in and check it out. But yeah, I love that. Or DC Universe Infinite does that. That they have that holiday section in there. So really fun. But yeah, back to this story. I think to be fair, we know why they put Batman on the title of this is because Batman sells. I think to be fair, this is more Justice League Santa Claus.
That's a good point. I
If I'm
actually didn't really think about that, but you're 100% right. It has everyone in it.
Yeah, this is a DC Universe story. It is not Batman specific.
I will
Although
say the
there's
Bat family is at the forefront, so
they are.
they can get away with it. It's not like they're misleading you um, with that. They can justify it in some way. But you're right. Everyone's involved.
Yeah, completely agree. Now there is, and we're not going to go sequential here, Joe. So I'm gonna jump around quite a bit. So here's your plug. If you have not read Batman Santa Claus Silent Night, pause here because there is going to be a no spoiler free section. We're gonna just have an open conversation about this book overall. Um, so there's your warning. But Joe, I think that the most fun part about this is that is the most Batman-y part of the book is the fact that on his travels before he was Batman, Santa Claus was one of the people who trained Batman. That and that's canonical now. That is canon.
Yeah, I'm assuming this book is canon.
It
I
is.
honestly
It,
don't
it
know.
takes place in the
You're right because
in the
they talk about that nightmare crossover they did. Whatever it was, the horror crossover they did in 2023. It's actually mentioned in this book. So you're right. It's part of that era. Yeah,
Night
it's so
Terrors.
much fun. Night Terrors, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, which is really good by the way. If you haven't read any of the Night Terror stuff, it's pretty fun. Um, but yeah, so it's canonical, and I think that's fantastic that this version of Santa Claus trained is one of the many masters of their art that trained Batman. That's really cool, and I love everyone's reaction in the story to Santa Claus a being real and B that he knows Batman and train and help train Batman because there's so many like reactions from like Nightwing and Damien's Robin and everybody else is just so fun. I love those little pieces.
and did this come out the same year as Violent Night,
Ooh, I don't um
or was that 22?
I can't remember.
If only I had something to look these things up before asking you, right? No, so
2022 was Violent Night,
2022.
yeah.
But so Violent Night was 2022. This was 2023. I will say this: I love the resurgence of Santa in Norse mythology, like that becoming forefront is really
Yes.
cool. I know you're a big fan of that too. I love the. It seems more realistic when they make it part of mythology than they do just making it magic. As I don't know if that's sacrilege to say, especially as a religious person, but I like that angle when it comes to trying to justify the existence of Santa. I think it's really fun to do that. Um, even like the movie Klaus, touches on him being part of taking place in. I think it takes place in Norway. Um,
Yes. Love Klaus, by the way.
yeah,
Such a good movie.
so it seems like they're really bringing back that whole aspect of the Santa mythos, and I really appreciate that. And seeing Santa be a badass is always fun too.
Yeah, it is, and not just being a badass for the sake of being a badass, but
Exactly.
being this woodsman who is capable
Mhm.
if need be. Um, I love that, and like you mentioned Klaus. I love the woodworking
Mm-hmm.
side of Santa Claus. I don't know why that's such a huge like it's a plus if we get that in a Santa story.
Mm-hmm.
And having him here, it, being that woodsman and the crafter and the story where that they tie in with Krampus and their balance and how that relationship worked, because I feel like Krampus has become very popular over the
Yeah.
last several years, ever since the before the movie, but ever since the movie, especially so. Um, so I just love that pairing and getting into that. What did you think of the way that they introduced Krampus into the story, and then the whole mythology and backstory there?
Oh, really cool how they do that. And I was never really a Krampus. I mean, that's a weird thing to say. I was never really a Krampus guy. I never really knew about Krampus or anything with his connection to Santa and the mythos. So I think I learned most of what he was through this story and then subsequent, like, viewings of other things because I wanted to know. And I've since seen the Krampus movie and that kind of stuff. I love how they, it feels like a comic book villain origin. And I mean, that would be fitting considering we're reading a comic book, but I think it felt natural to this story and how he even has kind of a redeeming arc to him, or how he's not as evil as he was original. Like, he wasn't, how do I put this? He wasn't just strictly evil for the sake of being evil.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, this came after this book, but Red One, like the
Yes.
relationship between Santa and Krampus and Red One.
Yeah, I got to rewatch that. I don't know if I'll have time this year, but I loved that last year. I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, I did as well. And again, I love this pairing of Santa and Krampus as like they kind of go hand in hand, and they
Mhm.
each have a role to play during the holiday season.
Yeah.
And the fact that yes, Krampus was sort of the antagonist of this story, but he was ultimately not the he wasn't at fault here.
Mhm.
There was and going into like the main part of the story of Krampus has released all of these Norse monsters
Mhm.
that Santa a long time ago had locked away to protect the world from them. And it turns
Essentially,
out,
the Phantom Zone.
yeah, in a version of the Phantom Zone, which ties in Superman and the greater DC universe. But the fact that this Santa Claus is not perfect is interesting to me. Like, we've seen some of that recently too with like Violent Night, like you said.
Yeah, flawed Santa.
A flawed Santa, but this Santa, he made a mistake by locking these creatures away, but he thought he was doing the right thing,
Mhm.
which is I don't know. What do you think of that? Because I thought it was pretty interesting.
Oh, it was definitely interesting, and maybe for just this particular story, I don't know if you can make children's stories like that, but I think you can to an extent. I mean, some people don't like to see their heroes flawed. I think it's kind of important to see that heroes can be flawed, so you can take peace in yourself having flaws and overcoming them. I think that's a really cool aspect of mythology or any type of heroes that we might worship, or at least try to see ourselves in them or see them in ourselves. You know, I don't know why people are so against seeing heroes that are flawed or heroes that make really, I mean, sometimes horrible mistakes. I think it's how you overcome those mistakes that matter. And yeah, that's the whole core of this story is Santa making a mistake with Krampus and it kind of coming back to bite him, but they have to overcome it. And you get, like I said before, the redemption of Krampus.
Yeah, and ultimately, it wasn't really Krampus that was doing all this. Krampus was being controlled
Yeah.
by evil spirits,
Mhm.
or not even really evil, I guess, because they were also spirits that had been locked away in the Phantom Zone
Mhm.
and how did they explain it? They had lost their physical form, and the Phantom Zone had kind of driven them mad,
Yeah, and they
basically.
couldn't keep track of how long they were even there for. They had no idea even why they were there. Everything was kind of lost in their memories, if I remember right, where they literally could not remember even why they were there. They were just angry because they were in there.
Yeah, yeah, and so as that outlet, they took over Krampus, who started this whole downward spiral of freeing all these creatures. And can I say, I love all the different creatures we get in this book.
Mhm.
But to start off the book, we get the man bat type style vampire
Yeah.
creatures,
Yeah, what are they
and
called? Like the Krog or something?
yeah, something like that. Um, at the end, them taking them like attacking Gotham City in the snow with carolers at the beginning. It's a great kind of a creepy hook to start you on a Christmas story, oddly. So, but I mean, right from the beginning, we set the stage that this is not Batman's usual wheelhouse, and I love that they bring in Zatanna because it's clearly the Drog. That's what they're
The
called,
draw. Yeah, I was
Drog.
just looking it up too. And I love that they bring in Zatanna, but they have to get her off the board quickly because they feel like because she could probably solve the problem. So
Yeah,
they come up with a good way to get her off the board. So it relies on the non mythical or non magic superheroes to try to fight this battle.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And they do, like you said, they take her off the board fairly quickly. But that's where I mean Santa Claus comes into play because he's the big help in this. Um, I love that he rides reindeer in this. The reindeer look awesome.
Mhm.
And also the reindeer's horns can impale vampires. That's interesting.
Well, and just so you say, talking about the the way they look and everything. The art in this book is really good. It's nothing too stylized, but it's also just really, really beautiful art. It seems like very um I don't want to say straightforward, but just not trying to do too much. It's just great looking art.
My only complaint with the art, because I agree with you, I think it's much stronger in the first like three quarters than it is the finale.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as I'm scrolling through the book right now. So you're
And
not
it's
wrong. I don't
and
know
you
if they were at a deadline and he was trying to rush more.
well, it's different artists
Oh, I
because
didn't
you
realize that.
yeah, because there's several different artists
Yeah, the
that
first
did the
issue
book.
is much better than some of the later stuff.
Yeah, because you've got
The
Michelle
final issue is
Bandini.
almost more cartoony.
Yeah, Michelle Bandini, Trevor Hairsine, Danny Kim, and Steven Segovia. So I think because of the time crunch, because of how quick these were released, or the scheduling was released,
Yeah.
they had to lean on multiple artists.
Okay.
Which the end is not bad. I just prefer the art earlier on.
Well, it's always jarring. I mean, granted, when I was reading it, I guess I didn't notice it. I'm looking at it now and paying conscious effort or conscious attention to it. It just the last issue is jarring because it is way more almost like animated style than the first issue, especially. So like it kind of naturally goes towards that as the book is going. But if you go from issue 1 to issue 4, it's very different.
Yes, yeah, completely. But I mean, I don't know where to, other than with the art. I don't know how much else we can say. One of the one of the best, my favorite pieces of the book, I think, is Santa's backstory when he tells the story of how Krampus came to be and how his gift delivering started
Mhm.
and how that whole that they were teaching a moral lesson to children through Krampus's what he did during the holidays and what Santa did during the holidays. It kind of reminded me in a weird way of the history lesson in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
Like let's
Mhm.
take a break in the middle of this and tell this ancient story.
While we're on the art, because you have the trade, did you see all the variant covers in the back? Uh,
So
the
yeah,
Dark Knight Returns one with Damien is really fun.
yes, and that's actually that there's a there's a kind of like panel within panel in um in the Silent Night Returns where they kind of mirror that. They do it again.
And I'm sorry, is that Dark Knight Returns or is that All Star Batman and Robin?
Oh, let me flip to it.
I want to say that's the cover to All Star Batman and Robin.
I think that one's supposed to be like the Carrie Kelly
Yes,
jumping.
that's what it is. You're right. 100%. That's definitely what it is.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So they do another like panel within panel in Silent Night Returns. That's almost a duplicate of that.
Okay.
So yeah. But back to the history lesson portion of it. Did you enjoy that as much as I did?
Yeah, probably not as much as you did, but I enjoyed it. I know you love that stuff. Um, Real quick, while I'm thinking of it, do you know this Green Lantern at all?
No. I think she is a modern Green Lantern. I don't know much about her, to be
Yeah, I'm
honest.
not sure what story she was from. My newest Green Lantern from my memory is Jessica Cruz, and I kind of am disappointed. Granted, that's just because, grumpy old man. Um, why are we already getting rid of Jessica Cruz for a new Green Lantern female character? Can we just use Jessica Cruz? But again, okay. I don't even remember her name in this story. It was something like Joe or Jade or so that kind of threw me off when they were talking to her because I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, I mean, I like her inclusion. I like having a Green Lantern here, and I
Exactly.
like kind of what they did with her and
Mhm.
Hawkgirl and Wonder Woman, who kind of took on the role of the helping with the Furies.
Yes.
So that I mean, I did like that inclusion, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about Jessica Cruz either, so I
Mhm.
don't really feel like I can weigh in on that one.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted your take on that because other than that, everyone else is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I
I mean, Tim's
everybody.
not in this. Damien's in it, but Dick is in it. Barbara's in it.
I do wish Tim was in it. I don't get that. Why do we keep leaving Tim out of things?
I guess it's the
Um,
overcrowded nature of the Bat family, and someone has to go, and he's always the one that gets the short end of the stick.
yeah, yeah, and it's unfortunate. I hope that changes going forward. Having said that, I do like the exchanges between Batman and Damien, or excuse me, Santa Claus and Damien.
Yeah, I actually think in this story, having Damien in this story made a lot of sense for the whole angle of not having a childhood and Santa being involved. I actually really love Damien in this story.
Yeah, and these are the kind of scenarios recently where Damien I think really shines
Mm-hmm.
with stuff like that. Um, yeah, we could have done with some Tim in here.
Mm-hmm.
I liked having Nightwing though. I'll always take some Dick Grayson in the story if we can get him.
Yep, agreed.
So the whole purpose of the story is that it's kind of a race to stop these creatures from escaping, which ultimately does not happen. They do get out. They escape from their Phantom Zone prison, and the spirits that have taken over Krampus, they took over. That they quickly realized that they could not they could not use Krampus anymore, so they left him and took over Superman. This is one of my nitpicks of the story is evil Superman again.
Yeah, the it's become a trope with Justice League stories
Yeah.
where it just seems like if we have Superman, the villain has to be so overpowered that Superman has to have problems with it. So they try to take again, like I was talking about Zatanna being taken off the board. It's like every writer feels like you have to take Superman off the board to make it a fair fight. It seems.
Yeah, and to be fair, I will give them credit for these creatures that or these spirits that took over Superman had no idea what his power set was and
Yeah,
therefore did not use his powers to their full extent.
that was a fun little twist.
Yeah, so I liked that. It made him easier to defeat
Mhm.
for the Justice League. But it's one of those things that I would honestly rather Superman not be in it than to make him evil
Yep.
again.
Yeah.
Um, But having said that, I love the cover of the trade, and I think it was one of the covers of the issues with the classic Batman comp with Superman sitting there reading the classic Batman Christmas comic to the kid.
Oh, that's the cover of the trade?
That's the cover of the trade,
Oh,
and I
wow.
love
Yeah,
it.
I'm looking at it right now. That's great.
Yeah. So for that
I'm wearing
reason,
that shirt right now as we speak, by the way.
oh, that cover,
Yes.
that's awesome. Love that. But yeah, so for that inclusion, it's fine. But I like Damien using the scared kid aspect and pretending to be upset to get Krampus free. I like that side of the story better than I do the evil Superman.
Yeah.
And I also love that the story ends with the entire Justice League enjoying a Christmas feast at the North Pole in Santa's workshop, and Damien gets to ride in Santa's sleigh with him to deliver gifts.
So, and I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong or if I just filled in the blank myself, which is good writing on their part because I was able to fill it in myself. But I want to talk about the ending because I could have sworn there was something about Santa not being able to give Bruce Wayne the one gift he always asked for. And I thought they hit on that more, and maybe I just filled in the blanks myself. But I would assume that like they made a little subtle nod about it, in like issue 3 or something, right? Where Santa feels guilty about he was never able to give Bruce Wayne what he wanted. And I thought they were trying to like hint at he does have a family now with the last page. That's how I
Well,
took it.
there is the moment where they've got to find Damien after Blue Beetle defeats Superman, which I also love that Blue Beetle was the one who defeated Superman. That's cool. But there's that moment where Santa says, "I have," he's got to find Damien, and he says, "No, I have a child to find for his father, whose one wish I can never grant."
Yes, that I remember, and then I thought they touched on it more with what he actually meant by that, but I guess not. I'm probably just filled in the blank myself, which is the point. They're not beating you over the head with it; it's pretty obvious. So
Yeah, and
I do like that notion, and again, ending with him and all of his family having Christmas dinner. I love that last page. That last page is great.
yeah, and I think it lets you, it lets you fill in the blanks of what the wish was.
And
So
again, I always wish we had these pages without the word bubbles, so I could have it, as you know, a beautiful wallpaper.
oh yeah, 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 because some of this is so fun.
Yeah,
Um, Funnily enough, I don't like a lot of the. You were talking about the alternate covers earlier. A lot of them I'm not a fan of.
I like the idea of a lot of them, but I'm not crazy about the style. Maybe,
Yeah, I mean,
or like even like
there's
the Green Arrow one doesn't even look Christmassy. Um, does he have a Santa hat? Oh, he has a Santa hat on. You just can't really tell.
yeah,
That one's not bad. The Superman one with Krampus coming after Superman, like some of them are fun. I love the one that you pointed out. I like the Zatanna one. I like the Santa and Damien one. Yeah, some of them I actually do. The one looks almost like J.K. Simmons from Red Dawn. I mean Red
yeah,
Dawn.
yeah, with him sharpening the machete.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm also not crazy about like the variant covers of they like took all the DC ladies and put them with Santa, and Santa always looks like he's a little like he's sweating in every one of them, and I'm like, I don't know why we did that, but
they're going with Excited Santa or Randy Santa.
yeah, yeah, not a fan. But either way, uh, again, the way it ends with you know everybody saving the day with Santa and Damien's help. I mean, they were really the two that came in clutch here at the end. With, of course, we can't leave out Blue Beetle. So, um, I love that they have that. I don't. I wanted to get your opinion on it. I touched on it just a minute ago, but that the fun of them being able to get together in the North Pole. And I love that they make the point that time will be frozen while they're in there,
Yes.
so that they can enjoy themselves without worrying about the world going to crap.
Yep.
I think that's such a fun touch. They get to have their own little fun holiday as the Justice League family.
I think it's because I think Santa knows like Batman's not taking time to relax unless he knows like, listen, as long as you stay here, time will not elapse. You can take as much time as you want here. You're not missing anything. You're not missing saving someone. You deserve this to just enjoy Christmas for a little bit.
Yeah, and Krampus joins in with Santa on the deliveries too, because he's free and clear now, and he's not the evil creature that most of us think of as Krampus.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, that's kind of that red one, piece I like is Santa Krampus. He doesn't always have to be an evil being. He's just serving his purpose
Mm-hmm.
during the holiday season. So there you have it. Anything else you really wanted to mention, Joe, before we move on?
No, I think we covered it pretty good. Just a fun Christmas Batman story. We've had Christmas Batman stories, but none that have really put Santa at the forefront. Like I've read books where like it's an evil guy dressed as Santa. That seems to be like the easy go to with a lot of the Batman stories, or
Mm-hmm.
something with the Christmas spirit. Where like I love the Tom King book with Batman adopting Ace for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I love those kind of stories, but this was, I mean, it was such a fun new flavor for a Batman Christmas story. I really like what they did. I think it was smart, and I'm kind of surprised that it never had happened before. Or
Yeah,
if
me
it did, I
too.
don't know about it.
Correct. Yeah. And I'll say, I mean, this is the third Christmas in a row that I've read this story,
Mm-hmm.
or holiday season that I've read the story. So I guess it has become an annual read now in the since it came out at the end of 2023. So fun stuff. It's probably one that I will read again in the Christmases to come. I think because it's got the entire Justice League in it. It's got Santa Claus, and it's not just a one-off, Christmas special issue. It's a whole story.
Yeah.
So that's really fun. And this is one that would be such a fun DC animated film if they wanted to do that.
And I haven't read the second one. Is it something that they could maybe combine the two, or is it very different?
It very much picks up the story from this
Okay.
one. So there are ramifications of this book that leads into that one.
Okay.
So I could see it, but I mean, I think they could do a 90-minute movie on this book alone.
Oh yeah, they could expand it a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. Or not 90 minutes. What are they usually? 70 minutes? I think they could easily do 70 minutes
Yeah,
on
it
this.
used to be like 70, 75, and then once in a while they would expand it to 85. And I feel like once they started expanding it to 85 is when I kind of lost interest in a lot of them.
Yeah. So backtrack on that. 70 minutes, this would be perfect.
Yep.
This would be a perfect little breezy Christmas animated DC film. I don't know that will ever happen, but I would love it.
It's an
Because
easy one to do a one-off with. You don't have to make it in continuity. I know Andy says it all the time, but if you make a Christmas anything, it's going to sell and it's going to be a mainstay if you do it right for years to come. I know we kind of hate on Merry Little Batman, and sadly, I didn't even watch Merry Little Batman this year. I'm sad to say, which I don't want to go into a tangent on that because I don't think it's that bad, but it's just not on par with the other Batman content we've gotten at Christmas time.
Mhm.
And to do something like this would be just, it would be pretty hard to not hit a home run with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, I hope it happens. I have no idea if that would ever even be on their radar to do, but would love to have something else to watch with Batman and Santa Claus here during the holidays.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and put a pin in it for Batman Santa Claus Silent Night. Maybe we'll cover the next one next year, Joe. That would be a good 1-2 punch for the holidays.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap it up, guys, we do have a couple of emails I want to make sure we get to. Again, we've been away for a good little bit here, so wanted to catch up on a few of these. Let's go ahead and get started. We've got one from Lee Ankrit. So Lee says, "Hi guys, hope you're both doing well. I'm sorry it's been so long since I last wrote into you. It's definitely not for lack of trying. I have sent unsent drafts to you with topics about the Penguin, Batman Resurrection, your 100th episode, Superman 78, Batman Begins, and Superman 25. Life keeps getting in the way of me finishing and sending my messages though, so hopefully I keep this one short enough to actually send it. I am still lurking and listening to every show, although I'm only 2 episodes into Peacemaker, so haven't listened to that wrap up yet. But most importantly, I am still sending casual abuse direct to Joe just to let him know he has to pull his weight on the show. Anyway, I've just finished listening to Batman Revolution, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear you guys review it sometime soon. I'll save my comments for then and hopefully get a second email off this year. It did get me thinking, though. I'm genuinely surprised at how much I have enjoyed Batman in this type of written novel media. I started with Nightfall, then Resurrection, and now Revolution, and it really works for me. I wondered how you would rank the different forms of Batman media in regards to your preference. We all love a ranked list, after all. Apologies if this has been done before. I can't recall, but my brain is such mush these days that I barely remember my address. For me, brace yourself. Backcast style hot take incoming. Number 1, live action. 2, cartoons, animated series. 3, novel. 4, animated movies. 5, video game. 6, podcast series. 7, comics, graphic novels. I'm sure I missed some form of media out, or I'm sure I've left some form of media out, so by all means include it in your list. I'm not saying there's loads in between me enjoying a live action movie and a comic book, but I think that's how I'd rank them at this moment in time. I'm really surprised at how much I enjoy the books and letting my mind's eye act out the story as I listen. Hence my question. Much love, as always, Lee. Thank you so much, Lee. And please never apologize for having a long stretch between messages because we have long stretches between episodes sometimes. So completely understandable. Life is what life is. Ranking that could be. We can almost spend an hour itself talking about this. I will say, I don't. Comics is definitely not as far down the list for me as it is for you, Lee. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I think it depends on what we're discussing because I've said it before. The No Man's Land novel is
That's correct.
way better than the comic for me.
Yes.
Nightfall, I might even agree to that because I think sometimes these comics are just so long and so erratic. The books are more focused, the novels. I actually read Nightfall and Beyond, I want to say, was almost like the young adult version. I can't remember. It was a red cover. I remember reading it when I was a kid. That was like my first introduction to Azrael and Bane and all that. It came out right around the time of Batman and Robin, I want to say. Or
Mm-hmm.
that's when I found it because that's when I wanted to learn about Bane and everything. And I had no idea what was going on when I was reading it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know who Azrael was. I didn't know what was going on, why this guy was now being Batman. I was very confused. But I mean, it's tough because I think
Comics is the hardest to keep current on. I will say that.
yes. And, a live action movie, there's nothing that gets us pumped up like the live action movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think when done correctly, as we could see with the animated series, that's up there because I think Batman works really well in the episodic format because of the way the comics are written. You can get more stories, more villains, you get more of everything that way. So that's where, like, if we ever got a live action TV show, we've been talking about that for years. That is like the prime what we would love the most because we just
Mm-hmm.
want more good storytelling in the best way possible. So yeah, I think it just depends on what the story is, or like it's hard to compare in general terms of what I think is best. I will say I think if I was going generally, I would say live. It's so hard to pick live action over a comic for me because but like, I don't know. That's a really hard thing to think about.
Yeah, and I don't think I think it's also in flux so much that I couldn't really rank them because like right now and I know I play video games as much as I can. It's hard with timing, but I'm so excited for Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight because there's just so much that's being crammed into that game. I'm so excited for it. Right now, video games might be pretty high up on the list, but when everything goes quiet, we don't get Batman in video games for a while.
Yeah.
It slips down.
But I think sometimes our like we love Batman in video games because they've done the best stories in the Batman video games. So I think
Well,
it
I
all
mean, because Paul
depends.
Dini was involved so much.
Yeah. So like if it was a story that we didn't like, we wouldn't necessarily think video games are the best way to go. I think it all depends. Like it's all relative on what they're doing.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
right
and
now,
that's what.
animation is not at the top of my thought process because I'm not crazy about what Batman is doing in animation right now. We haven't had any great animated movies in a while with Batman. So I mean, we're at a lull for almost everything Batman right now, except for, like you said, the Lego Batman coming out. We have Kate
And
Crusader eventually, hopefully coming with season 2, God knows when.
Well, and it's so cyclical too because like Batman comics. I will say right now, I'm on a pretty high. I'm pretty high on Batman comics at the moment because I am really enjoying Absolute Batman, and I did not expect that.
Mhm.
I'm also really enjoying the main Batman comic
And I
for
have
the
to still get
first
back
time.
into it because I've been out for a while.
Yeah, and that's kind of what brought me in is these two new big exciting things brought me back in, and the mainline Batman comic I'm really enjoying, and Absolute Batman, to my surprise, I'm really enjoying. Um, so yeah, right now comics is higher up the list. Give
Mhm.
it 6 months, if Batman tanks again in the comics, it might slip down. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's so cyclical, it's really hard to rank, but it's a really fun email and idea, Lee. So thank you for sending all that. And Batman Revolution, we will get to it. I can't promise when it's I have read it. Joe, you haven't read it yet, right?
What's that in Absolute Batman?
No, Batman Revolution.
No, Batman Revolution I have not read. I know you said you did. I've been meaning to do because I usually do the audiobook and I just with Christmas, I was doing a lot of like Christmas listening and all that kind of stuff. So this time of the year is kind of a little definitely for non-Christmas content. So by
Yes,
January, I want to get back into the things I've missed. Once October hits, it's Halloween, then
it's
it's
so tough.
Thanksgiving
Yeah,
stuff and Christmas. It's hard. So yeah, that might be like my first thing I check out in January.
yeah, for sure. But thank you so much, Lee. We hopefully will get to Revolution at some point, but I'd be excited to talk about that. So we'll see when we get there. All right. So our next one, we've got Stuart from Guernsey here, and Stuart says, "Hey guys, I just want to say I hope that you and your families have a great Christmas. What are your plans? Also, which geeky things have you asked Santa for? I know things have been pretty quiet recently, but I really hope we get another Christmas show from you this year. Each year, I listen back to all the holiday themed episodes from yourself, Holy Batcast, the Batman Book Club, Disorder, and Everyone Loves the Drake. I love having more shows to add to my Christmas list each year. Anyway, I hope things are good with you and you're all doing well. Here's to more TFR in 2026. Stuart. Stuart, very sweet message. Thank you so much. Again, I know it's been quiet. We apologize for that, but just podcast scheduling. I know that's kind of a cliche at this point, but it is what it is. But thank you so much for thinking about us. I'm honored that we're on that list of podcasts that you listen to our holiday episodes back. That's amazing. I do that as well. I go back and listen to some of my favorite podcasts back catalog of holiday episodes. So that's so fun. I'm glad to hear that we're included in that. Um, so far as myself with with plans, I mean, we've kind of done we went to my family's in North Carolina, and we're home for our Christmas, so we're looking forward to that. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, Stuart, thank you for putting us on that list. I listen to all those podcasts myself. Everybody
Yep.
loves Drake. I miss those guys a lot. I listen to them guys all the time when they were doing their shows, and they did some great Christmas episodes. I want to say Andy was on one of their Christmas episodes talking about like toys from the past or something.
That
Um,
sounds very Andy.
yeah. Thank you for including us on those or that list. As far as Christmas plans or what we're looking for Christmas, speaking for Eric real quick, he is a bad influence on me. We both got these awesome new shelves for our bat caves.
We did.
And so me and my wife, we have two young kids. We don't really exchange Christmas gifts. I don't really get gifts anymore. My family gives to the kids. I don't really get anything anymore. But I will say we're pretty fortunate where we like kind of buy what we want for ourselves anyway. So it's kind of foolish
Hmm.
for us to, exchange gifts at that point. And my wife is really understanding with stuff. So I did just get these awesome shelves to display some of my statues and hot toys and all that kind of stuff. Thanks to Eric because he found the Black Friday deal and he is definitely a bad influence on me. And so I blame him when I buy this stuff. So that's when, when my wife sees these big boxes, I said, "Oh, Eric told me I had to get these." So that's
Oh, I see. I see.
so I have to keep up with Eric. It's how it works. So
On that topic, I mean, it's Joe's fault overall that I have this room full of hot toys at this point. So I blame you. But on that point, I did just get in my Superman from the new Superman movie. So that is like that's a Merry Christmas to me. I'm so excited to have that in my collection. So I have to post a picture of him. He's in there with his Santa Claus hat. So very very festive.
we owe
But
your we owe the two girls in your house that because they messed with you. Was it last year where they put all the Santa hats on your figures?
they did, yeah. And now it's become a new tradition that all my figures get Santa Claus hats.
I
So
It's funny how they did it as a practical joke, and I actually loved the idea, and I stole that from them too because now I do that with my figures. It's really fun. They got scarves and hats and everything on them, and it's funny because you're at like a 5 year delay from my Hot Toys addiction, where I've stopped because I can't keep up with it anymore, and I'm buying now the cheaper McFarlane $50 12-inch statues, the plastic ones, while you're going on the Hot Toys roll. So, but
yeah.
it's definitely a fun addiction. I can't do it anymore. I did way too many, in the last 10, 15 years. I got really into it with the Dark Knight trilogy and then when the DCU was starting out. So I've set back a little bit or calmed down a little bit with that stuff. The Superman one is awesome. I'm definitely jealous of that. I don't have that. I have the McFarlane, which I'm fine with. I'm at peace with
It's a
it.
good looking statue.
It is. It's just I wish Crypto came with him. He doesn't. That's my
Yeah.
only downside to that. But other than that, as far as Christmas goes, yeah, we had family stuff over the weekend, and we're local. My whole family is local. We're very lucky that way. My parents are 2 minutes down the road, my in-laws are about 20 minutes down the road, so we are very local for Christmas, no matter where we go, and we're very I want to say fortunate that my kids got sick last week, so they should be good for Christmas, knock on wood. So I'm
Oh,
glad
we
that,
hope so.
yeah, we got the stomach bug out of the way the last couple days. So I'm hoping we're good now for Christmas.
Awesome. All right. So there you go, Stuart. We're getting this one out just in time for you to add to your Christmas catalog. So I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, we'll continue to hopefully get these holiday episodes out for you guys. And then our final email, we've circled back to Lee Ankrit again, and Lee just sent in a quick one. So just in case you gents are doing a Christmas episode, Merry Christmas, guys. So Lee, thank you again so much, and Merry Christmas to you. I hope you and your young family have a wonderful holiday. But that's really sweet. That just no questions, anything like that. He just wanted to wish us a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Lee. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying Christmas with the family. Now I'm trying to remember when Lee had his son. Is this his first Christmas with his son, or have we already passed the 1-year-old point for Lee? Time flies, and I can't remember. So I apologize if I'm wrong, Lee. But if not, Merry Christmas, and I hope you're enjoying the little guy for. If he's over a year old, it's definitely more special as they get older. You start seeing how they know what's going on and stuff now, which is really fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even gonna guess because time flies and I'll be completely wrong on how old his little one is. But yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to your family, Lee, and thank you for the message. Joe, that's gonna do it for our holiday episode of TFR. I'm glad we got to do this. This was a lot of fun talking about Supergirl and Batman Santa Claus Silent Night. I hate the gaps that sometimes happen, but I'm so happy we were able to do this.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to fit in. I didn't realize we haven't done one since Halloween. I thought we put one out in November, but I guess not. So yeah,
No.
and today was even a little dicey because, like I said, my kids were sick, so my daughter was home yesterday. We were supposed to record yesterday. Luckily she's fine, but yeah, so I'm glad we were able to fit this in before all the craziness starts with Christmas Eve and everything else. So yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for everyone for sending in the messages and for listening, and I'm glad we were able to get this out. And thanks, Eric, for making the time too, because I know you're a little busy right now too. So I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I'm glad we could do this again, and thank you so much, Joe. I know you got a lot going on, so thank you for working time in for the podcast, and hopefully 2026 brings us a lot more availability. But Joe, thanks again, and let everybody know where they can find you out there on social media.
Trying to spend a lot less time on social media, but you guys can find me if
No,
you need me.
amen.
Yeah, J411 on all that stuff. Letterboxd, X, Instagram, and then Facebook, Joe Fornarato, FORNAROTTO.
Perfect. And as for myself, you can find my personal accounts on Instagram, Threads. It's me, Carter89. I will tell you, like Joe. I'm not on there much. But I'm out there here and there. The show can be found on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and Blue Sky. That's tfrbatpod. Again, if you have any thoughts, questions, comments for the show, just send us those emails, tfrbatpod@gmail.com. If you're looking for a way to support the show, the best and easiest way you can do that is to leave us a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you listen to us on. We do read those written reviews on Apple Podcasts if you want to leave one there. If you're looking for another way to support the show, and we don't ask that you spend a dime on this show, but if you'd like to, you can go to redbubble.com, search Shop TFR, all one word, and find our logos on all kinds of merch. And our logo was created by Justin Kowalski. Our theme song was created by Gaurav Venkateswar, and his music can be found at gbtunes.com. Make sure you go to Panelbound Comics. Use the link in the description of this episode and use our promo codes there. Save yourself some money and find some awesome things. In those comics, collected editions, hardcovers, omnibus, anything you're looking for there. And support this show while you're shopping. That's going to do it for this episode of TFR. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a safe, wonderful, and happy holiday season. Merry Christmas to one and all. And until 2026, make sure you keep that back signal lit and pointed skyward.
Batman was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane and is the sole property of Warner Bros. Discovery. The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast, is in no way associated with DC Comics, DC Studios, or Warner Bros. Discovery. The thoughts and opinions of the participants of this show are their own and do not reflect the companies that they work for. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.